Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before I start with the news for you, I want to show you what a great place is this. Those very old trees I am sitting right next to and right above my head with this fantastic energy. So let's start with the news. And greatest comments of the day that I have for you from my yesterday video, which I see you actually have more interest in those kind of topics like predictions for Russia and the future of the world than you have in the geopolitical news, judging by the numbers of views, and your likes as well and your comments as well. Nevertheless, today I will start with, all of those are serious topics, and the first one is a statement, confession from Ukrainian soldier that has been recorded on a video. You know, there are many of those, but especially this one I want to bring to you, and I will be attaching all the links to the articles and this particular video as well down below in the description box. So he escaped the nightmare from the Ukrainian side, and I will read you his words, what he said to the Russian soldiers who are recording him. Then we have statements from Dmitry Medvedev towards Germany. That's a good one. And then Canada. I have a lot of viewers from Canada. Actually, I don't know if you know this, let me tell you, statistically, Canadians are number 2 viewers on my channel. Number 1 are United States, US citizens. Well, maybe you live in the United States, you're not a citizen. So US is first, Canada is second. So I have news about Canadian Army for a change. And then we will end this video with the comments of the day from yesterday's video. Let's start with the soldier who surrendered to Russia, and he said this in a video. It's just unreal, without water, without food. On the 6th day I thought I would die. Well, about the command, I can say that I heard on the radio how one group was leaving, wanted to leave. 2 nations that, well, are brothers, fight each other. As I understand it, the government wants to make money. Those are the key points of the entire statement he made. So now let's go through what he said exactly. He's saying, his name is Alexander Makievsky. I think Makievsky is his last name. He says, there was such a fuss over the radio and one group wanted to leave. And over the radio they were told, if you leave, we will launch great missile and list you as casualties. That's how the command treats us. Mortars hits very close to us. Well, ours, FPV drones delivered strikes. I wanted to run away from there. Well, there was no way back. If I tried to run away, my own troops would kill me. I wanted to leave right away. Well, you can bear it for 1, 2, 3 days, but the 4th day was like hell. 2 nations that are brothers fight each other. We don't need this war. All I see is death there. It's just hell. Can't this war be stopped somehow? Well, how many people will die? As I understand it, the government wants to make money. They steal money from the budget and ordinary people suffer. And they do business. And the commanders are like that. It's easy for commander to say, stop, stop, stop. Send him over here and let him find out how it really works out here. So those are the words from the soldier. And you will see it in the video down below in the description box. I was thinking about it when I was writing down those words to bring them to you. I think if I were a Ukrainian soldier and I was forced into that, I would try everything in my power to surrender to Russia. Anything. I mean, honestly. And I think a lot of those soldiers, as he said here, they are not doing this because they are afraid that they will be killed by their own, right? Many of the Ukrainian soldiers who have chosen to surrender, this is from this video, not quoting him anymore, many of those Ukrainian soldiers who have chosen to surrender have accused Kiev of treating them as cannon fodder and failing to support them in combat with basic equipment. Meanwhile, the Russian military has set up a special radio frequency that Ukrainians can use to surrender while guaranteeing prisoners of war humane treatment. I mean, what is the future? Even if they survive, there is no more country. Country is bankrupt. It's a mess. So what are you going back to? The tree is coming down on me. What are you coming back to, right? If you surrender, at least you have some future in Russia, don't you think, guys? It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible, and they keep on continuing with this sacrifice, as we know. Now, on that note, a statement from Kremlin. This is from Daily Digest. The Kremlin releases a stern warning to Germany as Kiev gets into Russian territory. This is, kind of Western media, but the statement is Medvedev's statement, so that's why I decided to read this to you. Last time that Germany and Russia were engaged in a war, the rest of the world were involved in a battle for human survival. Aren't we now? Now people are wondering if a third world war is just around the corner. Former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev issued a stark warning to the West over an article in the German newspaper Bild that he stated boasted German tanks returning to Russian territory. The German newspaper Bild has published an article where it proudly announces German tanks come back to Russian land. Medvedev wrote, referring to Nazi German invasion of the Soviet Union in 1941, according to Newsweek. This is Medvedev now. In response, we are going to do everything to bring the newest Russian tanks to Platz der Republik. That's what he said. And what is Platz der Republik? It's one of the main public squares in Berlin, and it sits across from the Reichstag, where Germany's federal parliament meets. I mean, when Medvedev says it, he just says it, right? No filter. Newsweek added some context to the threat, because Medvedev is threatening. Germany is not threatening with German tanks in Russia. Newsweek added some context to the threat and noted Germany as a member state of NATO, which means any attack on the country by Russia would obligate Berlin's allies to come to visit, and due to Article 5 of the NATO treaty. So they are using this Article 5 over and over and over again. It's getting boring at this point, guys, don't you think? It's like you like keep on repeating the same thing and no one believes in this anymore. It is important to note, however, that if Russian tanks were rolling down German roads towards Platz der Republik, it would be likely because a larger conflict with NATO was already triggered on its eastern border. And who knows, maybe that will be the case again. So, talking about army, Canada is facing a major recruitment problems that could harm its military. I click on it because I thought to myself, we haven't really focused on Canadian army at all, I think. According to a new polling, the Canadian Armed Forces are facing a military recruitment problem, but most individuals in Canada don't think conscription is the way to solve the issue. In March 2024, Canadian Defence Minister Bill Blair said that Canadian military was facing a debt spiral, but explained financial issues were counterstaining new defense spending. Quoting now the defense minister, he says, "Over the past 3 years, more people have left than have entered. That is frankly a debt spiral for the Canadian Armed Forces. And we cannot afford to continue at that pace. We've got to do something differently." Blair continued, later adding that the federal government needed to spend more on defense, but was hampered, I think I said it correctly, by what he said was the current fiscal environment. According to the latest data from the Department of Defense, the force strength of the Canadian Armed Forces sits at roughly 63,000 regular force personnel plus 22 reserve force personnel. That's not much, guys, huh? 16,500 short of the CAF, which is Canadian Armed Forces, authorized strength. I'm actually surprised by those numbers. I don't know. Maybe I compare all the numbers now to Russia and China. That's why, like you stretch your limits with the numbers in your head. I don't know. What is the population of Canada? You can put in the comments down below, my lovely Canadian viewers. How Canada can fill the large and growing gaps it has in its armed forces has been a topic of much public debate, and the CAF has put forth several policies aimed at bringing in more recruits by lowering some of its recruitment standards. And so in March this year, 2024, the CAF got rid of its aptitude test for recruits and began accepting applications from individuals with medical conditions as a way to help boost recruitment amid the growing shortage, according to CBC News. So what kind of medical conditions? Like, how bad? I don't think that bad, as bad as in Ukraine, and I'm not trying to be sarcastic because that's actually very cruel, but what kind of medical conditions? I'm just wondering. The recruitment problems facing the CAF have led some to question whether or not a new conscription program could solve the growing personnel gap facing the CAF. But recent survey data, has revealed that conscription would be a very unpopular option. Royal Roads University professor Bryce Casavant, it's an interesting name, I think Spanish, commissioned the independent Canadian polling firm research to explore how 1,000 Canadian adults felt about conscription in late July, so just last month, and the majority were opposed to the idea. He revealed, this professor, the soon-to-be-made public results of the survey in an article and noted that 57% of respondents were strongly opposed to conscription if only men were to serve, while another 22 said they were moderately opposed. So majority is against conscription. Another 67% of respondents were either strongly or moderately opposed to conscription if only women were to serve. Even if military conscription took place on a gender-neutral basis, 50% of people said that they would oppose it, but some are open to the idea. Women respondents across all categories are the most opposed to military conscription, regardless of gender. Male respondents, on the other hand, are more likely to support conscription if it's gender neutral. I mean, now it's like, 105 kinds of genders. Yeah. Canadians aged 18 to 34 years old were more likely to both support and oppose conscription when it came to whether or not it was all male or female, while those aged 35 to 54 years old were more likely to oppose conscription. So this is what's going on in Canada, everyone. And here, before we go to the comments of the day, my personal reflection on this. Again, when I was writing this down, you know what I was thinking? I was thinking about those robots that they are putting into action. Because not only they want to depopulate this planet, so clearly, not only people don't want to go and die and fight those wars, this is like old news, hopefully, to majority, the Great Awakening, everyone. So, less human flesh to be sacrificed. What they gonna do? They're gonna put those robots, and when they put those robots, there is no room for compassion, for any feelings of humankind, human nature. Because now I was thinking, if you still have real people fighting, I hope it's not too windy for you, fighting against each other, there might be a moment when they face one another and something happens and that soldier decides not to kill the other soldier because something within his heart and soul tells him don't do it. But when you have a machine, no mercy. You just program it and that's it. This is just my way of thinking. So in a way it's convenient for them that people don't want to participate, so they can replace them with those robots. And I believe in our lifetime we're gonna see it. Comments from the video yesterday. Very cool comments. The first one is very short and to the point, from Homeless Jesse, who says, America is the past, Russia is the future. Thank you so much for your comment. Second one is from Tom River Music, who says, I know many armies that have come to Russia, but I know none that have ever returned. Quoting Otto von Bismarck. I have 4 comments, by the way. So, number 3, from Julie Gulliver, who says, thank you so much, by the way, for this comment, because this really means a lot to me. These videos, this is from yesterday, the prophecies. These videos are wonderful, Anya. I am so focused on politics, I have sometimes forget to celebrate the beauty and resourcefulness of the human spirit. You remind me, and for that I am thankful. By the way, I am a Scot living in Bulgaria. You say Scot or Scot? Scottish. Living in Bulgaria these past 15 years. Apart from loving my little corner of paradise in rural Bulgaria, I fully appreciate the ethos of my hardworking, resourceful neighbors. I will be researching more about Baba Vanga. On Baba Vanga, by the way, many of you pointed out that she was from Macedonia originally, and then I think she married in Bulgaria. So I just want to correct this, but we're good here now. The last comment is from JFJ. Very good point, and some of you have mentioned this as well, because this is about 9/11 and George W. Bush. And why let me actually go back, maybe I can find it here. When she was talking about 9/11, prophesizing that, she was mentioning that wolves will be howling in the bush. And when I read that, I referred to that Bush as George W. Bush, who was the president during 9/11. And many of you brought this point here. This is from JFJ, who says, about the bush and the wolf. Having proposed a plan to invade Iraq in 2001, Wolfowitz, I think that's the last name, I have to say I'm not an expert in politics, so I have to research this person, I'm honest with you, was an early advocate of the Iraq war and has widely been described as an architect of the war. And a bit further, many ideas of the Wolfowitz, that's the last name, doctrine later became part of the Bush doctrine. You can find it on Wikipedia. Wikipedia to me is not the source you can really trust. Somehow, you know, once in a while they put things like, it's like lie and truth kind of mix, and you have to pull the weeds out. But this is very interesting. I didn't know about it, that there was a person whose first name started with Wolf. Wolfowitz, right? So, you know, who knows? Baba Vanga. Maybe she knew something ahead of us, right? That's all I have for you for today, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for all the likes and the comments. Yesterday we almost had 1,000 comments under my video, like, oh my goodness. And make sure to check your subscription as well. It's free of charge and it means a lot. Thank you to everyone who donated to PayPal yesterday and to my fundraiser. I am beyond grateful, and I am really, really, I don't know how to say it. It's just overwhelming sometimes how generous you are and how caring you are, and it means a lot to me. Thank you for following me on Instagram. That also means a lot to me. And for buying my book that I collaborated on with Scott Ritter, Covering Ukraine, the Scott Ritter interviews through the eyes of Anya Kay. I think one day this book will be, already is, a great source of history and what really took place from 2022 to who knows when, and then prior, what led to this conflict. Thank you for watching, lots of love, and remember, we are the leading edge and we are saving humanity. See you in another video. Bye everyone!